Hi, my name is Stony Fox, and I am finishing my last assignment for social psychology. So, the first question that you asked is why do you think I asked you to complete this assignment? I feel like you asked us to complete this assignment because it gave us a crucial tool in helping us remember things that we have learned in this class. I know for me over the years, I have found that using different learning strategies such as visual aids and quotes, and you even gave us options to YouTube videos, can be very particularly effective in helping me recall important information. So, being able to use for instance, I came across a very particular insightful quote that resonated with me. I make a point to write it down and maybe keep it to where I can. And one of the quotes that were very important and really stood out to me that I actually shared with people that I knew from this assignment was that never tell people how to do things. Tell them what they do, and they will surprise you whether in their integrity. So, and that's from George S. Patton. So, with that, to me, that reminds me of leadership and what important leadership is that don't necessarily always tell people exactly what to do. Give them the basics and let them be creative and be able to let them use their own ways of doing things, and they might surprise you. So I feel like that goes really well with why you asked us to complete this assignment was so that you gave us the guidance, you gave us the textbook, but are we going to be able to take this material and apply it to our future careers in psychology? So this helped me to internalize and to be able to find different ways for me to use learning skills or maybe to be able to use this in other classes so that I can be prepared for my future career. And so I feel like overall, I believe that using different learning strategies can be a very effective way to help individuals remember important information. And whether it could be quotes, pictures, or visual aids, or YouTube videos, we all love Crash Course. We all know what those are. I still remember them from like middle school, and I always wondered why my teacher would make us watch these. Well, that's why. And I feel like that tool can help us really be able to internalize the information and maybe we'll make it a part of our overall schema for social psychology and just for psychology um, in general, to be able to pull the information out in the future, to be able to understand and realize what people are going through, because psychology is to study people's feelings and beliefs as a whole. So I feel like that's very important to why you asked us to complete this assignment. Number two was to identify two interesting things that you learned from the project. The number one thing that I found interesting was self-esteem. Self-esteem is one of the things that I have struggled with in my life, and what really amazed me within this textbook and within this project is what self-esteem can do to a person, either if it's positive or negative. One of the things that really helped me show the visualization what I was trying to speak about was a picture of a woman who had a bubble around her that says what I can control, and another one that says what I cannot control. I know for me, I have a very hard time trusting in people and trusting the process of what goes on in my life. So I'm always overthinking about what will others say about me if I do this instead, or will others accept me if it just as simply as if I wear this outfit, are people going to accept me? Are people going to think I'm cool? Are people going to think that I'm a weirdo for wearing this outfit? I think about that daily. I don't know why, but I always have. And another thing is that if will others accept my traits? Will people accept my personality? Will people accept who I am as a person? And how we often are negative about ourselves, about things that we can't control about ourselves, about our looks, about our body weight, about what financial stuff that we can afford and stuff. Not all the time we can help that, and that we shouldn't feel self-conscious that if I don't have the like, because I know for a kid when I was younger, if I didn't have the newest thing or if I didn't have name brand, I would always feel myself being really self-conscious into going into being very outgoing in school because I was always worrying about what other people thought of me, and that can really apply to daily lives that me as adult that does that now, especially when I go to work. I'm always wondering like, well, does my boss think I'm a hard worker? I feel like I'm working really hard. I really do like this job, and I hope that I hope they'll give me a raise soon or something. So just doing stuff like that, it's just things that we can't control. But what we can control, that the picture does talk about, that I really loved finding um was finding acceptance of myself and others. To say self affirmations is one of the biggest things that has affected my life and helping me build my self esteem and confidence. Being able to um, choose to love myself and to be able to um, not to worry about what other people are thinking of me, to say words to myself as self affirmation, and to be able to choose to be responsible for my actions. I think that's one of the biggest things, because if you have really high self esteem, you always feel like you're never in the wrong, you are the best, you're never going to take criticism, and that's really important for us to be able to take in and to digest, because it can help us grow and evolve as a person. So I feel like that was one of the most important things, and I feel like Kaysen did a very good job talking about all of that, and I really love the photo that I found on the internet to support that in my portfolio. The second thing that I found very interesting was stress and health. Um, Stress is in everyone's life, and I feel like one of the reasons why psychology is so popular nowadays is because people's like, how can I be less stressed in life, and how can I be more accepting of myself to be able to be the best person that I can. um, I know for myself, I have been going to therapy for the last year, and I have been really working on my anxiety in life that is caused by stress, either it's from work or school or family issues. I feel like I'm always trying to find a way where I can have less stress and have better mental health. So I feel like that was very interesting because Kaysen talked about what are stressors in life that are positive for us and what are negative. One of the things that I talk about in the last portion of the section is that stress can be a motivation for us. Not all stress is bad, and that if you think all stress is bad, well then how are you motivated to be able to do anything in life? Because I know if I have a homework assignment and I'm stressed that I'm not going to get it done by next week, that motivates me to have better time management skills to be able to get my assignment done and to be able to do things in a timely manner, where if I do have questions I can ask my professor, or if I know I have multiple assignments, it can help me be able to be more prepared. But if you're not stressed and you're like, oh, I got it, don't worry about it, I'm just gonna go with the flow, and then it's the night before and you're like, oh gosh, this assignment's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be, okay, you're creating anxiety because you weren't motivated to get a head start. And I feel like that's why a lot of students get so stressed out, is because procrastination is a real thing and it can affect our stress levels and our mental health. So I always find that very interesting. And one of the things that was really good for me to be able to do for this project was to find another visual representation. I am a visual learner, so was that can improve your performance and functioning, and can improve your performance and stuff, but it can also impact your performance and functioning if you have really high levels of stress. It can be overwhelming. You're most likely probably going to shut down if you don't have those proper coping skills to bring down your stress level. But one of the good things that is that it can create a feeling of good feelings. That's what it says for the good stress, that it can inspire you to be able to be the best version of yourself and to be the best that's in either in your sport, in your job, or in your personal life, to be the best mom or dad. It can inspire you to do that. Cultivates a growth mindset, going right back to self-esteem. If you have low self-esteem, you're going to have you're probably going to have very high stress levels. So I really love how this book really ties everything together, because if you are having high stress levels, how are you supposed to grow in life? And for me, that's one of the most important things, is that how can I be the best version of myself? And to be able to have stress is to be known is not always distressing in life, but it can be inspirational. So for me, Kaysen really brought that to visual for myself, because I always thought that having stress meant that I wasn't going to have happiness and I wasn't going to be very successful. And going through therapy, I kind of learned the opposite. And Kaysen describes that having stress in short amount is okay and it's needed in life, and it's okay. So I feel like that was very inspirational for myself, that just because I'm struggling with something, I can use my self affirmations. I can mentally shut the door on that topic and just stop thinking about it for the night. I feel way more comfortable in talking about what stressors are, and I feel like working on mental health and working on self acceptance of what our flaws are really does help with not having anxiety, not having not the long period of stress that can interrupt your performance and functioning in life. So for me, that was very inspirational for me, and that was what I found the most interesting. And what scholarly source did you find most useful and relevant in your life experience? The one that I found most useful, and the reason why I picked it, was for the self-esteem one. That was the prediction of female college students' self-esteem based on their moral identity and achievement styles. So with that, it kind of did a research on asking these girls who were in college to take a survey and to go over what they felt comfortable answering. And the results were that people who had a family life of parents, or just people who supported them throughout life, that were very supporting, very loving, very understanding, and trusting, gave people a better self-esteem and a better moral characteristics. And for families who were not very involved, who seemed to only point out the bad, that weren't there for their kids when they needed them, that's when their moral characteristics and their self-esteem have a negative effect. So I feel like for me, that's very relevant in my life, because I feel like I've been on the spectrum of where my mom or like people in my life have been very supporting and trusting in me, or where we were going through hardships and my mom couldn't be available for me at one point, or she was very stressed out and we kind of detached for a while. I feel like for me, my self-esteem and for my moral characteristics were really fluctuating, because I was craving that attention. So for me, I think that was very relevant to my life, because I could literally play out the parts of where my parents were supporting me, my friends were supporting me, my boyfriend was supporting me, compared to other parts of where I felt like I didn't have no one supporting me. I felt alone, and I wasn't the best person that I could have been then, because I felt like I was struggling with something internally, and it was really affecting my moral characteristics and my self-esteem, and it made me not be able to perform to the best that I could. So I feel like that was the most useful and most relevant scholarly source that I found, and I really loved it. So I do recommend reading that article. And then lastly is, how can you understand social psychology to help you in your career? For me, my career that I want in the future, like I said, I want to be a child psychiatrist. I want to be able to work in hospitals with kids who have that have terminal illnesses or have sickness that affects their daily lives. So for me to have an understanding of social psychology is incredibly beneficial, because I can have a insight of how people can think and feel and behave in social situations. And as a as a therapist, you work with children who are developing their social skills every single day. Children are going through different development almost every year, or every 2 years. They're always going from, from the 8 stages that Erickson gives and all that. So I feel like that's very beneficial for me to understand, because by understanding social psychology, I can have a better understanding of the social and emotional challenges that a child might be facing. And I can also gain insight on how a child can perceive and interpret their social world, and how it can help you develop, how it can help people develop treatment plans and interventions for children who are going through that. So, for example, if I was seeing a child that was experiencing social anxiety, or if I was seeing a child that was experiencing depression from the illness that they might be suffering from, or if I was going to go into family children therapy, I could eventually help them maybe use some social psychology principles like learning coping mechanisms from stress and health, to be able to feel more comfortable in who they are, and to be able to kind of know what questions to ask to feel like what's really the stressor in life, and how can we help them. And I can see, and I can take what they're saying, and I can start learning profiles about what's going on in their life. Are they getting bullied at school? If they're getting bullied, is there bystanders? Is people watching them? Is the teachers watching them? And if like if they had a sibling who's not sick, how do you think that's going to affect them as a child that's still developing, that just wants to be normal in their sense? And I feel like for me to be able to understand how children perceive what they are going through, to help them understand that life is hard and life is unfair, but what we can make out of it for you, it's what really matters. And that's where our success comes, that everyone's life is not going to fit in a circle or in a box, that we're coming all different shapes and sizes, and that what we make out of life is what we can get out of it and what we can be successful in. So for me, I feel like that's very beneficial, because overall, having a strong foundation in social psychology can help you be more effective in any treatment or therapy, and can help you have a better understanding on how to help people, especially me, to help children navigate through complex social worlds that they could be feeling internally, or they can be having problems in the outside world. So I feel like for me, that's why social psychology is very important, because it can help me be able to help anyone, including children, including adults, including friends and families, to be able to have better qualities in life, and to be able to have a better, healthier mindset. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this class. This was probably one of my favorite ones I got to do this semester, and I really loved the one-on-one that we got to do throughout the project of the commentary, to be able to learn better learning skills for me, to learn how I can help people in the future in my career is so inspiring, because that's the whole reason why I'm going to college. And sometimes in some classes I feel like I don't know what I'm going to use this for. But for this class specifically, I feel like it was very beneficial. So thank you so much for making this such an enjoyable year. And I hope I have you again as a professor in the future. So, bye.